Alcatraz was renowned as the most formidable prison in the U.S. A place designed to house individuals deemed irredeemable. Greetings everyone, today we will explore the grim realities of life within the cold, unforgiving walls of Alcatraz. A prison surrounded by the relentless, icy seas. Known as the ultimate high-security fortress in the 1900s. We will traverse through the desperate escape attempts, the stringent life regimes, unexpected glimmers of hope. Through high-standard meals, and surprising forms of entertainment that existed within this fortress of despair. If you find this video interesting, please support us by hitting the like button. Now, let's get started. The Jailbreak Plan. Surrounded by the cold sea, Alcatraz Federal Penitentiary was said to be impossible to escape from, and its rigorous surveillance system thwarted numerous escape attempts by inmates. Did any prisoners ever manage to escape from the seemingly inescapable prison? In 1936, the first attempt to escape from Alcatraz was made by a man named Joe Bowers. He attempted to climb over the fence, but the vigilant surveillance system of Alcatraz quickly detected him. Joe Bowers was quickly spotted and fatally shot by a guard. As can be seen from this, Alcatraz was under constant surveillance. And it was impossible to escape by simple means. And it took more than just getting past the guards to break out of Alcatraz. In December of the year following Joe Bowers' escape, Theodore Cole and Ralph Rose attempted to flee from the island under the cover of fog. However, as they attempted to swim to San Francisco, they were caught in a storm in the cold December waters and their bodies were never found. Thus, the strict surveillance and isolated location rendered Alcatraz prison seemingly unbreakable. Subsequent years saw numerous escape attempts by prisoners, but all were thwarted. In 1945, John Giles executed a meticulously planned escape from the prison. He used his time on laundry duty to gradually collect scraps of clothing, crafting them into a makeshift military uniform. However, he was eventually discovered and arrested, even though he managed to hide on a ship and reach another island. The following year, a riot ensued as several prisoners attempted to escape. First, 6 prisoners succeeded in robbing the guards of their weapons. But when they were unable to obtain the key to the outside that was needed for the subsequent escape, the prisoners lost control of their plan and panicked, resulting in a 2-day gunfight that left 3 prisoners and 2 guards dead. Of the many prison escapes that occurred one after another, the most famous was that of Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers in 1962. The incident inspired the movie, Escape from Alcatraz, depicting the 3 men's attempt to escape by digging a vent hole in their cell, traversing through a drainpipe, and venturing across the ocean. They even constructed a doll to take their place, seemingly to delay the discovery of their escape and to evade their pursuers. However, the bodies of the 3 men have never been found to this day, leaving whether they succeeded or failed in their escape a lingering mystery. Life at Alcatraz. Such a harsh and hopeless life in the prison must have been like pushing the prisoners' spirits to the limit. So what was it like inside Alcatraz and how did the prisoners spend their day? When prisoners arrive at Alcatraz, after being transferred from other prisons, they are stripped naked and subjected to a physical examination before being taken into custody. They would then endure extended periods in solitary confinement. In Alcatraz, all the rooms where prisoners slept and woke up consisted of solitary confinement cells in order to strictly control each prisoner, without missing any escape attempts. Alcatraz housed more than 300 such cells, divided into 4 blocks: A, B, C, and D. First, Block A was an area that was no longer used to house prisoners, because it had become so run down over time since its construction. The cells in Blocks B and C were where the average prisoner was housed. There are no windows in the cells, and the corridor sides are dimly lit with iron bars. The iron-constructed beds were accompanied by mere straw mattresses and dirty pillows, and the cells featured a bare toilet with a sink that lacked a toilet seat and provided only cold water. That was all that was in the cell, and of course, no outside items could be brought in. The remaining cells in D block were larger than those in B and C blocks. However, the larger space did not mean that the prisoners in these cells received any special treatment. Rather, Block D was the cell in which prisoners who had broken the rules were confined, completely cut off from the outside world. A day alone, with no one to see, nothing to do. And no hope could last from a few days to a few weeks. And there was one thing that these prisoners repeated many times a day. That was to be counted. To prevent escape and maintain discipline in the prison, prisoners were counted 23 times a day. Each time, they were made to line up, maintain their posture, and wait breathlessly for the counting to be completed. Such meticulous counting would have significantly curtailed any opportunities for escape. Even in the middle of the night when they were sleeping in their cells, they would be checked to see how many people were present. Thus, prisoners were deprived of all freedom. But of course their interaction with the outside world was also severely restricted and controlled. Not even the right to exchange letters with their parents or siblings was readily available to prisoners. Even letters were not easy to obtain. And visits were even more strictly regulated. Prisoners had to undergo several steps, including obtaining rights and applying for permission, to secure visitation opportunities. The visits that were finally granted were for 90 minutes once a month at most. The visits were restricted to blood relatives or spouses, conducted over the phone through a small glass window. Naturally, these conversations were closely monitored, and if a prisoner talked about another prisoner, the visit was terminated at that moment. Amidst all this discipline and control, the prisoners, such as they were, spent most of their time a day working. Prisoners were assigned a variety of labor tasks, including selection and work in the cooking factories and ports. The compensation for this labor was minimal, ranging from 5 cents to 12 cents per hour. For the prisoners, however, the reward was something other than money. The biggest reward for them was a shorter sentence. Depending on the job, prisoners were allowed to reduce their sentences by 2 days. For every month worked in the first year, 4 days from the second to the fourth year, and 5 days per month from the fifth year onward. Some prisoners may have worked hard with the goal of reducing their sentences. However, in Alcatraz, where many prisoners were convicted of serious crimes, the possibility of reducing their sentences may have seemed futile. Meals at Alcatraz. So far, we have seen the harsh life of the prisoners at Alcatraz. They labored and slept in cramped cells under strict surveillance. As you watch this video, you might feel a sense of despair about life in Alcatraz. But in fact, some of their lives were a bit different from the image we have of them. The one thing that these exhausted prisoners looked forward to was their daily meals. Surprisingly, the food at Alcatraz prison was of a very high standard. 3 meals a day were served: breakfast at 6:45 a.m., lunch at 11:40 a.m., and dinner at 4:25 p.m. And the food was reputed to be the best among all of America's prisons. It is remarkable that the food served in such a formidable prison, housing the most notorious criminals, surpassed that of other prisons. Some kitchen staff at Alcatraz, having culinary backgrounds, took pride in serving quality food to the prisoners. Let's take a look at a sample menu from 1946. First, breakfast was fruit and syrup, cereal, milk, bread, and coffee. Dinner consisted of meat, beans, coffee, bread, celery, tomatoes, and other vegetables. The meat and beans were sometimes served in a chili-flavored stew, sometimes with fruit, dessert, and hot tea. This is something that even we today would be happy to eat. In addition, the most sumptuous lunches sometimes included meat dishes such as roast pork or pies, filled with beef, along with soup. What do you think? Just by looking at the menu, it contradicts the common image of prison food. To be honest, I am envious of it. Entertainment at Alcatraz. They didn't just work all day long. They also had time for recreation, although not a lot. However, as I mentioned earlier, other than food, clothing, shelter, and medical care, not all prisoners were given unconditionally. Prisoners had to somehow acquire the privilege to enjoy entertainment. And typical among the recreational privileges they managed to obtain was reading books in the library. Alcatraz prison had a library with many books available for prisoners to read. However, even prisoners with library privileges could not directly enter the library and choose a book. Inmates were required to order the books they wished to read from a list, with the selected books being delivered to their cells. These books and magazines were delivered with only the parts related to the crime, if any, removed. And some prisoners used the library to study law and foreign languages. And some even took correspondence courses at the University of California. In a prison where enjoyment was scarce, reading was a valuable pastime for prisoners and in some cases had a positive impact on their lives. Other recreational activities included chess and softball. Also, in the 1950s, prisoners were given headphones so that they could listen to the radio and watch movies in a large room. Furthermore, according to prison regulations at that time, they were also allowed to purchase textbooks, musical instruments, and magazine subscriptions. As the years went by, there were aspects of their treatment that gradually improved. Among such valuable entertainment, the most popular form of entertainment among the prisoners was the band, Rock Islanders. Actually, this was the name of a band that played inside Alcatraz prison. What a surprise, it was possible to be a musician in Alcatraz prison. It seems that there were many prisoners who wanted to join such a band, leading to frequent changes in band membership. Some prisoners must have been desperate to become model prisoners in order to obtain the right to be in a band. Even the infamous gangster Al Capone, once a ruler of the criminal underworld, was keen to join the band. Al Capone's wish was granted, and he joined the band. He learned to play the guitar and banjo, enjoying it so much that he reported in a letter to his son that he had learned over 500 songs. Alcatraz prison, a place of stringent living with moments of fleeting joy, was decommissioned in 1963 due to the deteriorating condition of the building. Today, it is a tourist attraction as a museum, and tours of the prison cells as they were in those days are very popular. The inmates of yesteryears would likely be astonished to see the state of the prison today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insightful content. Take care and see you in the next video. Goodbye.